I said a few days ago that I was going to spend some time today, 2 hours I said I was going to spend, on getting some real clarity on exactly what I'm going to do with regards the speaking. I've come up with all these ideas. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to put on an event, I'm going to do more on LinkedIn, I'm going to do more on with my other social media channels, through the email, through the blog. All these ideas, but no real strategy or structure to them. So I wanted to spend some time today actually forming some strategy and putting some timeline on it as well. Did I do it today? I kind of did it today, and I have to admit I didn't. I didn't do it all. I did spend a good probably about 3 hours on speaking related stuff today. And it feels like it was a very productive day, but it's going to take a little bit more. I think I've got another block of time tomorrow that I'm going to dedicate. And I will dedicate to this particular project of getting some specifics. I've written down the things that I need to do. That's what I've kind of got so far. I've been working out, sort of mind mapping the things as I've done before, but now I've got this big long list of here are some specific things. One of them was just to add and this is kind of where I went wrong a little bit, because I started writing down things like, I could add in a footer to my Gmail emails that just says I'm a motivational speaker specializing in well-being and performance. And instead of just continuing with my list, I actually just went ahead and did it. So I kind of felt like I made a bit of progress with that, and I did some other bits and bobs. My Amazon profile for the book, updated that. Did a little bit on LinkedIn as well. So I kind of did some of the things that I, as I got to them, and I guess the reason for doing that for me was because it felt like progress. Felt like I was actually doing something. But I do know how important it is to have this thinking time, this strategy time. So I've made really good headway with that. I also spent a good chunk of time, probably an hour or so of that 2.5 hours, kind of mapping out a bit more information on a bit more structure to the talk that I'm giving in the Wyre Forest in 2.5 weeks' time now. It's pretty much, it's very, very closely upon me now. I'm feeling really good about that, really, really good. I've got a very good framework now. I still haven't managed to make it spell out a word, but I'm getting there. I feel I kind of need to really hammer home two very, very important points. I talk about, I'm going to go into progress, not perfection, talk about being specific. I'm going to bring the whole manage your energy thing into one of those. Actually, no, I'm not going to bring it into one of those. The two things I'm going to definitely talk about as well is why. Why is it important to you in the first place? Kind of what's the motivation for making changes, for doing things, for getting more active, for looking after yourself more. And the whole manage your energy piece will come into that, because I believe that's a huge motivator. If you feel like you're doing something just because you've been told, or you know that you should do it, then, is that really going to have a long-term motivation for you? Probably not. And certainly in my experience working with people over the years, it isn't enough. But when you've got something that is connected to another goal that is important to you, like kind of feeling better, more energy, better productivity, more creativity, all those kind of things that we know that these small tweaks and uplifts and well-being practices has an impact on those things. Then making that connection can be a really powerful motivator to keep things going consistently, and feeds into everything else. Above all of that, I've managed to find an O, which is to own it, to absolutely own it, and to know that this is something that only you can do, only you can take responsibility for. You can tell I've been kind of thinking this through on paper anyway. So they're the other kind of factors I want to bring. It does mean that I'll be talking about probably 5 things instead of just the 3, but I feel that a couple of them, the own it and the connect it to your why, the powerful why, they're so important, they're so fundamental, they underpin everything else. Without those 2 realizations and observations, then it's very hard to really get traction with the other things. I think that's where the motivation is going to come from, and the specifics bit is going to allow me to go into some actual tips, and like a big old list of, look, here are 15 things you could start with. Not everything's going to work for you, but here are some ideas you could do. And I'm going to go back to some of the stuff I did with the BBC last year, when I did some workplace wellbeing stuff with them, some outside broadcasts in Oxfordshire. So that was a really productive part of my day today, and I was just sat up in Costa Coffee up in Thame, and working through some of these ideas, and it got to, you know, leaving time 4:45. Got to head to the shops, pop in and get a few bits, and then head home again. It's where I'm just outside my house now. I always feel I like finishing that time. I like getting home around 5ish, half 5ish. I like, you know, obviously having dinner with the family and all the rest of it. But that is also really, really productive time. I always feel like I have this extra another lift at that time of day where I'm just really getting into that flow state, and then I break off. So it was only the fact that today I got so much other stuff done. I had lots of this kind of big expanse of time. Spent lots of time in Costa Coffee today, and that kind of really helped me, you know, get to that time that, you know, I'm pretty ready to go home now. But it's definitely something I need to be thinking about, because that is a very, very productive time for me. Anyway, made some progress today, feeling good about things, and also having spent some time not ticking all the boxes with what I said I was going to do today, but enough progress and enough kind of motivation to finish that process off, which is something I plan on doing tomorrow. So I will be reporting back with more updates on my progress tomorrow. Keep me accountable. I'll be back.